So Diddy was sentenced. And I said he'd be somewhere 56 to 63 months or something. And I thought maybe even 70 months. Well, the judge gave him 50 months. Let's kind of calculate. I got my handy dandy calculator right here. Let's calculate what that would mean. And these are approximate numbers, just so you know. So you take 50 times 0.85 equals 42 and a half months. That's with good time, right? And then he's already done 13 months, roughly. And so that means 29 and a half months that he still has left to serve. Now, he'll probably serve 6 months of that in a halfway house. So you take another 6 off of that. So that's roughly just about 2 years that he'll have to serve. But guess what? Once he's done doing that, he'll be on supervised release. And so that is another term of probation. And he'll have random testing. He won't be able to possess pornography. He will have to have his devices monitored, and if he f***s up on that, they can send him back to prison.
Diddy has been sentenced to 50 months in federal prison, but the real shock is that criminal lawyers say he might not survive behind bars. Even with avoiding a life sentence and beating the most serious charges like racketeering conspiracy, experts warn he's now a major target. He was convicted on 2 Mann Act counts for transporting people across state lines, and while his defense pushed for 14 months and prosecutors wanted 11 years, the judge settled on just over 4. But the prison he's going to, the enemies he's made, and the powerful Hollywood names he could expose are why some believe his life is in serious danger, even more than the sentence itself.
He was sentenced to 50 months, and we kind of calculated what the actual time that he has to serve. And he got 5 years supervised release. That means he's on probation for 5 years after he gets out. And if he f***s up on that, he can go back to prison. And then the judge also gave him a $500,000 fine, which he's got plenty of money, so that's not going to be an issue for him. So here's the long and short of it. And this is not a light sentence for Diddy at all. I mean, most people who go through this, the Mann Act, just prostitution across state lines, they don't have all the other conduct that Diddy was involved in, but they don't have a heavy sentence. In fact, a lot of people don't even go to prison on a case like this. But there was just so much to this case. That's why Diddy got hammered. Not because of who he is, but because of the prolific nature of what the he did and who he did it to. There were victim impact statements, both impact statements from both the victims, and Diddy created his own video. So let's take a look at this.
Criminal lawyer Bruce Rivers broke it down. Even though Diddy was sentenced to 50 months, good time credit cuts that to about 42.5. Subtract the 13 months he's already served, and he's left with roughly 29.5 months. With a likely 6-month halfway house transition, he's really facing only about 2 years of actual prison time. 2 years instead of life, let that sink in.
I'm not going to watch any more of this crap. But, the defense lawyers in this case did a remarkable job. Remember where we came from. He was looking at life in prison, and now he's got another 29 months to do, roughly. Thereabouts, 23 or 29, depending upon, what kind of credit he gets. And then that's it. And then he's going to be on supervised release. He'll be tested, because we're part of this case. He won't be able to take drugs, cocaine or otherwise. He won't be able to go wherever he wants. He won't be able to leave the country. I thought it was hubris that his lawyers said that they had, the lawyers asked for 14 months. The prosecutor asked for 135. And the judge gave him 50, so kind of in the middle. But I thought it was hubris that his lawyer said that he had a gig for speaking, the next day in Miami already booked. That shows a hubris. That shows like a lack of awareness, and it's like read the room. Here's the thing. Diddy is symptomatic of just power gone awry. He's going to have to register as a
But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. After he gets out, Diddy has 5 years of supervised release. Think of it like being on probation, but way stricter. We're talking random tests whenever they want. He can't possess graphy at all, and for someone with alleged addiction issues, that's tough. They're gonna put monitoring software on all his devices. His phone, his computer, everything. He can't just travel wherever he wants. Can't leave the country. And get this, he has to register as an offender for 10 years. If he violates any of these rules, straight back to prison. No questions asked.
Perhaps believing that I may start naming names. That day will come, but it won't be today. The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already.
Lawyers are calling Diddy's defense team brilliant because the man was literally facing life in prison, yet they got him acquitted on the charges that could have buried him forever. One legal expert even said the defense pulled off a remarkable win, turning a potential life sentence into roughly 2 years left to serve. Even Suge Knight's lawyer admitted it was impressive. But now comes the part that has everyone on edge: why criminal lawyers are genuinely worried about Diddy's safety behind bars.
Diddy requested to choose his own prison. He's asking to do his 4-year sentence at Fort Dixon, New Jersey, like he's booking a room at the Marriott. Apparently, he told the judge he wants to go to Fort Dix Federal Prison because they have drug treatment programs and he's trying to better himself. He claims he wants rehab, wants to stay closer to his family, and wants access to RDAP, Residential Drug Abuse Program. Now, if the judge agrees, Diddy could reduce his sentence with programs and be in a safer environment.
Diddy isn't seen as a normal inmate because, according to lawyers and commentators, he may know damaging information about extremely powerful people. Attorney Tony Busby even suggested that many more names could eventually come out, which has fueled speculation about potential danger. Some compare his situation to Epstein, another case surrounded by controversy, but claim Diddy is an even bigger target because he allegedly kept recordings, documents, and receipts. Former mob figure Michael Franzese also weighed in, saying that if the allegations against Diddy were true, even the mafia wouldn't tolerate that behavior. All of this has led experts to warn that Diddy's safety could be at serious risk once he enters the prison system.
Do a deal with me when I get out, a business deal. They need money. Because of the fact that he's a money guy, I think he's going to have more friends than he will enemies. And in a medium security, normally nobody's looking to shank you. When you get into the higher institutions, when people are doing, a ton of time and there's no way you can benefit them, then you got a little more problem. But in a medium security, I don't think he'll have an issue at all. I really don't. He can be too much of a benefit to inmates that are always looking for something. And he could be a golden ticket for some people, at least in their mind.
I could just talk to you for hours and hours, but I have some other guests lined up, so I got to say bye there. But to Michael Franzese, thank you so much for being on again. I really appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me. Take care.
Diddy isn't seen as a normal inmate because, according to lawyers and commentators, he may know damaging information about extremely powerful people. Attorney Tony Busby even suggested that many more names could eventually come out, which has fueled speculation about potential danger. Some compare his situation to Epstein, another case surrounded by controversy, but claim Diddy is an even bigger target because he allegedly kept recordings, documents, and receipts. Former mob figure Michael Franzese also weighed in, saying that if the allegations against Diddy were true, even the mafia wouldn't tolerate that behavior. All of this has led experts to warn that Diddy's safety could be at serious risk once he enters the prison system.
Everyone's coming up to me and saying, "Did you see Nicole Westmoreland?"
Bullshit.
Crying. People go, we had to do a double take, like, was that really her on the, she was literally, you guys, bawling while giving a statement. We don't see that often. Usually lawyers are calm, collected. She was up there crying as if she was one of Diddy's family members. And then people are coming up to me going like this. Did you see? Yeah, I saw. I heard, I saw, and I don't know what to make of it. It was very strange to see a lawyer cry, I guess. And I don't know if those were real tears or if they were crocodile tears. All I know is that when she was up there, people were like the whole room started, not the whole room, but a lot of people in the room started crying when the kids were crying, because those were real tears for sure. But Nicole's tears were confusing for sure. People were like, wait, what? We're just not used to seeing that, a lawyer cry. Do you think Brian Steele's gonna get up there and sob? So we'll see what happens.
Prison politics get messy for someone as high profile as Diddy. Former inmate Michael Franzese says wealthy inmates face two dangers: people who want to befriend them for future opportunities, and people who want to attack them to build a reputation. He noted that in medium-security prisons, inmates usually aren't looking to stab anyone, but in higher security facilities where people are serving long, hopeless sentences, the risks rise. That leaves Diddy in a tense balance. Some inmates may protect him for potential benefits, while others could target him for status, especially if outside influences come into play. And on top of all that, what happened in the courtroom added a heartbreaking layer to the whole situation.
How unprecedented was it showing that video, especially the way it was put together, made him look like this great father, philanthropist, and this guy who was doing so much for the community?
How old are you?
2.
How old are you? 2. You got a 2. That's 2.
I started out just like you guys. I come from New York. I grew up in Harlem. Clap it up on the sideline. Let's get our energy right. Come on.
For the defense, I think they would say it's a balance. And it was well produced. There's no doubt about that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's such a well-produced video. Does that hurt him that it looks like he went out and hired a production company to make that video?
You would think that there was a lot of thought and intent that went into making a video like that, but it was well produced. It had the highlight reel of his life, even despite his submission and his letter saying this is the first time that he's been sober for over 25 years. Kevin, I couldn't help but wonder.
In the courtroom, things turned emotional fast. One of Diddy's lawyers, Nicole Westmoreland, broke down sobbing during her statement, something so rare for an attorney that people were whispering about it afterward. Reporters noted they couldn't tell whether the emotion was strategic or genuine, but the room grew heavy when Diddy's children spoke. 6 of his 7 children pleaded with the judge, describing how much he'd changed and how deeply they needed him after already losing their mother. Quincy called him a different man, Justin begged for a second chance, and Christian said he saw the change in his eyes. The daughters broke down as they described growing up without their mom and feared losing their dad too, asking the judge to show their family mercy. No matter how anyone feels about Diddy, the emotional weight in that room was undeniable.
That day will come, but it won't be today. The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
The defense also played an 11-minute video showing Diddy as a devoted father, philanthropist, and businessman, even using footage from Kim Porter's funeral, which some found surprising. Reporters said they'd never seen anything like it. But despite the emotional video, the sobbing attorney, and the pleas from Diddy's children, the judge still stood firm. He said, "A history of good works cannot wash away the record in this case," making it clear he wasn't swayed by sentiment. And that's where things shift, because what comes next is what has a lot of powerful people extremely nervous.
And then doesn't turn it over to a general publishing group, but sends it to Jay-Z's lawyer and says, by the way, we're going to put this out unless you pay us millions of dollars, bespeaks the real motives behind this. And let me just say this.
Tony Busby, the attorney representing more than 120 alleged victims, has warned that the Diddy case is only the beginning. He told reporters that investigators are preparing to name additional individuals, a list he claims is already long and, if confirmed, will shock the public. Busby says he's not just targeting alleged participants, but also people he describes as complicit bystanders and facilitators, as well as companies that may have profited from the alleged behavior. He even mentioned banks, hotels, and other corporate entities as potential future defendants. These are his allegations, but if even part of what he suggests unfolds, it could send shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond.
I would imagine, as we speak here, there are a myriad of people who are very nervous. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. I would expect there are many people out there right now who are desperately searching their memories as they delete their texts and data. Now, although these are, in fact, individual cases,
There's also been online speculation about why Cassie's lawsuit was reportedly sent to Jay-Z's legal team before it became public. Some people have used that detail to question whether other big names could be connected, but to be clear, there's no evidence that Jay-Z, Beyoncé, or any specific celebrity is on Busby's list. What's real is that people are asking the question, and the speculation alone shows how nervous Hollywood is about who might be named next.
You know, and it's like, read the f***ing room. You know, here's the thing. Diddy is symptomatic of just power gone awry. He's going to have to register as a offender. And he'll probably have to do that for 10 years. And if he doesn't, guess what? That's a separate crime altogether. So this can follow him. So if you're thinking, oh, Diddy got off, blah, blah. Well, his lawyers did a good job. And, you know, he still has the right to appeal his conviction and his sentence. It ain't going to go anywhere because the evidence of the Mann Act violations were overwhelming. He's now tagged with 2 felonies. He's not free to go about and do what he wants to do. For the next, 89 months or thereabouts, he's going to be under the control of the federal government. And that's no little thing for a guy like this. So here's what supervised release is going to be like for him. It'll be intense at first. They'll drug test him. They'll put monitoring software on his devices. They will, they'll have constant meetings and check-ins and that kind of thing once he gets out of prison. And as time goes on and he demonstrates compliance, the supervision will get less and less intense, probably to the point where he just has to call in once in a while.
Busby warned that anyone involved or aware of these alleged actions should just come forward now, saying many people are likely nervous and trying to erase texts and data. That's why some experts believe Diddy could be a target. It's not just about prison, but about the people who may fear what he knows. And once he's out, it's not as simple as finishing his sentence. The aftermath could bring even more complications.
That he is part of this community of people that have to be supervised, and he gave the government a big foray into controlling his life. And that's what happens when you decide to break the law. That's our little Diddy update. I was close on my prediction, wasn't I? I think a little I was. But I've seen these things time and time again.
After his release, Diddy will be under 5 years of supervised release, far stricter than regular probation. Initially, it will involve intense oversight, monitoring software on his devices, constant check-ins, and regular meetings. If he follows the rules, supervision will gradually ease, eventually requiring only occasional check-ins. But for someone with Diddy's lifestyle, adhering to these strict conditions for 5 years will be challenging, and any violation could send him back to prison. Diddy's legal team achieved something remarkable, cutting a potential life sentence down to just about 2 more years. Truly impressive work. But the big questions remain. Will he make it through those 2 years safely? Is he really in danger behind bars? And will Tony Busby follow through on exposing the powerful names he's mentioned, or will they find a way to stop him? Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.